All right, my people. So I had a viewer ask me, what are the shifts like? How many hours can I expect to work? Am I going to be on call? Do I actually get time off? So in this video, I want to answer to you, what are the expected shifts? What is the call volume that you could expect? And what are things like once you actually graduate EMT school and get a job? So the first thing I want to tell you is there's different requirements in different areas. The most common EMS shifts are either 8 to 12 hours, but you'll have shifts depending on the neighborhood where it's 24 hours, or it could be 12 hours, 16 hours, or even 48-hour tours. It all depends on whether or not you're a paramedic and a firefighter, or just a paramedic, or you're working out of a hospital. So, on the majority of cases, what you can expect on a weekly basis is to have anywhere between 36 to 44 hours be getting paid. And remember, you're getting paid overtime, time and a half, any hour after 40 hours. And the majority of shifts that are done on the overnight, for example, have a night differential where you're supposed to get paid a little bit extra when working overnights. You're supposed to get paid a little bit extra. The percentage is like 3 to 5% extra on your base salary already when you work weekends as well. So some systems start at 8 hours per day, and other systems go all the way over to 48 hours consecutively. So in my particular situation, I'm working 24 hours on with 72 hours off. I'll start at 7 in the morning and get off at 7 in the morning the next day, and then I'll have 72 hours off until the next time I'm due to go back to work. So what that'll look like is if you work on a Wednesday, you'll start Wednesday morning at 7 in the morning, and then you get off Thursday morning at 7 a.m., and you're not due to go back to work until Sunday 7 a.m. And that's actually pretty good because it gives you a lot of downtime in between shifts so that you are able to do other things that you have going on. So in my particular situation, I'm a father. Make YouTube videos every once in a while trying to help the new EMTs, trying to help the new paramedics. And I got a bunch of other stuff going on as I pursue my emergency medicine residency. So the downtime in between shifts allows me to still make the money that I need while also having downtime to take care of the things I have to. But if you're gun ho about working a whole bunch of extra jobs, about making a lot of money, another thing that people can do is work at two full-time jobs. And I've done this as well, where you work Monday through Wednesday 12-hour shifts at one job, and then you work Friday or Thursday through Saturday at your other job for another 36 hours. I don't recommend this because you'll get burnt out very easily, but it's extremely profitable whenever you have any financial goals. But remember, you are not your job, and remember, financial goals are not more important than your health. Unfortunately, a lot of people, especially the older veterans, they care more about their credit score than they do about their blood pressure. So as you're entering EMS, I want to help you realize that your health is way more important than the amount of money that you make. But always remember that's something that you need to consider. Don't fall for the trap of prioritizing money as I have. Now, are you always on call? No, like once you clock out, you're done. You have nothing else to do. Now, this is not usual at all, but there is situations where a particular department may need you to be on call, and these are outlier situations. This usually happens to supervisors. For example, you got a supervisor who's a critical care paramedic, and they may have some kind of on-call agreement, or you have some kind of fire chief or something that they're there to deal with escalation type of things. So in my particular situation, I'm doing inter-facility transports. I did all the 911 stuff in New York City. I'm in Florida now, and I might be able to, well, I'm actually going through the process of becoming a critical care nationally registered paramedic. And I may work out something with my employer where I'm like, hey, listen, I'll do those critical care calls. I'll do the vents and all the drips and all that stuff. But you got to pay me, let's say, my hourly rate plus $100 bonus for every single patient that I transport. It's something that you have to negotiate. Remember, you watch videos on negotiation. If you want me to create a video on how to negotiate your salary, I can do that as well. But once you have experience, you're able to like kind of go through things and kind of make things work in your favor. Now, so that's to answer the question on whether or not you're on call and do you have days off. Like I mentioned, 24 on, 72 off. If you work 3 days a week, if you do the 12-hour shifts, then what your schedule will look like is you work those 3 days, whether it's on the overnight, usually it's from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. or 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on that same day. And that's good because it gives you 4 days off. This is the schedules that doctors have. This is a very common schedule because also nurses have it. So it gives you a lot of downtime, especially if you're in school. And if you're working overnights, it does mess with your circadian rhythm, but it helps out tremendously because there's a lot less, in the majority of cases, there's a lot less 911 calls, there's a lot less interfacility transports at night because people are sleeping. So that allows you to study as well. So just to recap, you can work anywhere between 8 to 48 hours straight. In my particular situations, I've done the 8s, I've done the 16s, I've done the 24s, and I've never done the 48s unless I was like I remember I got deployed in 2005 for Hurricane Katrina when it hit the Gulf Coast of Mexico. And that was just, I was on, that's another outlier situation where when you're deployed to a natural disaster, you'll be liable to work your whole time while you're there. Like you're getting paid from the time you arrive to the time you leave. Like it'll be a whole week's worth. Was a week has 168 hours, so you'll get paid 168 hours for deployment. But once again, these are outlier situations. And yes, you'll have days off, and the best days off are one thing you'll notice from watching this YouTube channel are days where you're having positive venting mechanisms, and those days off could be several in a row. So I encourage you guys, once again, make sure you take care of your health, make sure you take care of yourself, because there's a burnout that goes on in EMS, and you don't want to have to deal with burnout because you're working too many hours or because you saw a pediatric arrest. And these things they add up unless you have positive venting mechanisms that'll help you stay healthy and help you stay sharp. So the good thing about EMS is there's a lot of flexibility. The pay is not the best, but there is a lot of flexibility. And depending on where you work, you will get overtime, and that overtime will help you make more money. But at the end of the day, what I've noticed, especially now that I have the New York City experience and now I'm in Florida, and Florida represents most of what the United States looks like. It's just EMS is treated much like a stepping stone. Like a lot of people use it as a means to an end to get into something else that they're interested in. So if that's you, EMS provides a lot of flexibility, whether you're trying to become a nurse, a respiratory therapist, a doctor, whatever. There's always a need. The government is shut down right now, and I'm getting paid. I'm working, thank God. During hurricanes, during natural disasters, EMS is one of those professions where you do not get paid a lot, but you do have job security. My business was affected negatively, and now I have this W-2 job where I'm still able to put food on my table. I'm still able to provide for my wife and kids. I'm still able to feel productive and feel like a man, because the last thing you want is to not be making money. So if you're a teenager, you're 18 years old, I started EMS like this degree right here, this certificate that I got right here was in 2003 when I became an EMT. Let me show you. Sorry. Trying to take off the glare. So if you notice 2003 right here, emergency medical technician, basic. And ever since I got that certificate, I've never had an issue with finding a job. So if you're just becoming an EMT, get prepared to do God's work, stay sharp, watch the videos on this YouTube channel. I guarantee you it'll make you an EMT's EMT, which is basically the EMT that other EMTs or paramedics want to be treated by when there's an emergency. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below, and I got you. God bless, my people. Peace.